Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Afternoon Tea with Dots. I am Dr. Erica, and today we've got Dr. Sarmila Sinha join us again to talk about our mental health. And today's topic is stress at work. Welcome back, Dr. Sinha. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Of course, we're really enjoying these Friday mornings with you. And to talk about these much needed topics. So how are you today?
I'm brilliant, thank you. And how are you?
Yeah, I'm very good. Excited about the topic that we are going to discuss today because actually in primary care, I see so many people come in with problems at work and stress related to work. So today we will be talking about some causes for stress at work. Can you expand on that a little bit for us?
So, occupational stress, also known as burnout, is on the rise. Obviously, this concept has been there even before the COVID pandemic, and with the pandemic, I think it has become even more prominent because people who are working, particularly in the health sector, dealing with patients, the aftermaths of the COVID, dealing with the patients directly affected by COVID, everybody is incredibly stressed. So stress at work is it's an awareness, and people are getting more and more affected by it. People are trying to understand what stress at work is. I mean, work environment, workplace can vary from even somebody working from home who is self-employed to businesses to different occupations. So it all depends where the setting where you're working, but work stress can happen at any setting.
Yeah, and actually, that's really important to note because more and more people are working from home. Since the pandemic, a lot of people have been working from home and may continue to do so. And how does actually working at home contribute to stress as well? Because you have it kind of mixes up home life and work life, not like when you step out the door, you go into work. This is now work mode. Now it's all mixed up in one space.
Yes. I mean, when the pandemic started and people were working from home, initially there was a honeymoon period. People loved the fact that they don't have to commute to work, because for some people the commute was a problem, the journey was a problem, and they were working from home. So it was a great concept. People just embraced it and they loved it. But as time went on, they realized, particularly with people who have they have to care for little ones and they have other responsibilities, that it's not that easy to switch off to work mode. So you're at home and you have to switch on to work mode, and then you have to attend meetings, you have to um, be fully focused on work. So the people realized soon that it was starting to get a bit difficult to focus at work. They were getting easily distracted by other distractions, whether be it housework or looking after the little ones or other caring responsibilities. So it wasn't that easy. People started to realize, and even people also started to realize that they were not able to switch off from work. So they were working longer hours. Whereas when you at in your office space, when you finish work, then you go home. But when you're working from home, they struggle to switch off. And sometimes people also start the blur, the lines between work and family life or the personal life started to blur, and they were unable to kind of switch off and even take breaks from work. That became a big problem. So where initially people were thinking this was a great idea, soon they realized that it wasn't that easy. They had to be incredibly disciplined, they had to maintain routine. And some people even struggled with motivation levels. Whereas, when you have a routine, a work routine, when you wake up in the morning, have your coffee and set off for your journey to work, it was a routine. But when you're working from home, even to motivate yourself to change from your work clothes to work clothes from your pajamas. Even that was it was a struggle for some people. So suddenly all of these challenges which were never thought about started to come up. And a lot of people find Zoom meetings or online meetings quite difficult to sustain attention for long. So all of these are quite big issues which surfaced.
Okay, so actually, you've mentioned quite a few causes of stress that I've picked up from what you just said. So, from the setting point of view, that can cause stress, the hours that we work, the commute, any sort of distractions, lack of breaks, and even the use of technology can cause stress related to work. And I guess that we haven't mentioned one big one is relationship with colleagues, and we kind of talked about relationship last week. So if you missed the episode, do go back and have a listen to our episode on relationship stress, which may be helpful. So lots of things can cause stress at work, and it's important for the individuals to actually know themselves and recognize these potential triggers for stress, because recognition is the first step, isn't it, to any solution of a problem. And I know you discuss tools to overcome stress or deal with stress at work in a lot of details in your workshop, which we'll share the details of in the description below. And can you give us some top tips on how to, let's say top five tips on how to deal with stress at work?
So I'm going to generalize this a bit, because there can be different settings for workplace. So I think one of the biggest cause of stress is the workload. So it could range from not knowing what you're supposed to do if you're new at organization. So knowing your job role. So I think the top tips, first of all, if you're in a job and you're not sure about what is your responsibilities, and if you feel that your workload is becoming unmanageable, the first thing to do is to look at your job plan, look at your job description, know what you're doing, and seek help. And this can be, um, you can have this under the umbrella of supervision, and you can have reflective sessions. So I think it's always good to have some support from senior colleagues, from your supervisors, from managers. So that is the number one tip. Know what you're doing, and don't pressurize yourself to overwork. The next tip I would say is taking regular breaks at work. I know that if somebody is new in an organization, there can be that pressure to impress, pressure to prove that you are such a great worker, but don't do this at the cost of your own mental health. And therefore, taking regular breaks, even if you feel that you don't need that 15 minutes break, I would say please take it. And what I also suggest is don't have your lunch in front of your desktop or in front of your laptop, because we are always occupied. If we are sitting in our desktop, at our desk, we are always occupied with distractions, incoming email, signal, or this and that. I mean, when I was a health and well-being ambassador for an NHS trust, we used to encourage power walks on we would say once a week, we would encourage colleagues to have lunch outside. It could be on the grass outside in the garden, or just take a walk after lunch. So just encourage yourself to go out for a short walk, things like that. So it's very important that you're giving yourself some time away from your job at regular intervals. For junior doctors, I think it's become mandatory that they must have a break every 4 hours, and which was very good. I think it was started by Royal College of Psychiatrists, and you might be able to say, Erica, if it's true for your specialty as well. The third top tip is time management. So when people prepare for deadlines, when they have a looming deadline, when they have something that they're worried about, it's always better to prepare for some kind of a big, huge project. You break it down into smaller chunks. And it's important to learn about time management and prioritization of what bits of work you're going to prioritize. And if you need help on this as well, you can seek help from your seniors, from your colleagues as well. And the fourth tip is to improve communication. I think a lot of stress happens if we are unable to communicate with our peers, with our colleagues, with our seniors, and that is a huge, big learning or coaching topic in itself. And we do teach about improving communication in our webinars and our courses. But that is a key thing that we have to learn how to improve our communication skills. And did I say 4 or 3?
You said 4.
Okay, so my final tip is looking after our own emotional and mental well-being. And we are all humans at the end of the day. We should not be hard on ourselves. And we all make mistakes, and we should have a spirit of learning from our mistakes and not be self-critical. So maintaining a healthy lifestyle, having a work-life balance, and basically just being happy. Just do the job that you love to do and focus on the job. And don't worry about the criticisms. Don't worry about the negative thoughts that might occasionally pop up, because human brain, human mind, we have lots of thoughts coming in, and I think we have to filter out the negative thoughts and focus on the positives.
Wow, there's so many gems here, and I'm sure in your workshop you'll go into each one of these in more detail, and probably with many other tips as well. But these 5 that you've mentioned are already so great, and so I just wanted to pick out a couple of them, and talking about regular breaks and not having lunch at your desk, they're so important. And actually taking lunch, say outside, or going for a walk or something like that, you're also exposing yourself to natural sunlight. You're getting that exercise in, and all of this will help regulate our circadian rhythm as well, which is often lost in an office setting with fluorescent lights and things. And what would you any tips for people taking those 5-minute mini breaks, or even 2-minute break, to have some water or something like that? Any tips on that, on what they can take that time to do and to reset?
So I call it recharging the batteries. Even batteries, even machines, they need some time off, because they get burnt, they get overheated, right? So that's the human machine. We get overheated, our brain gets overheated. So how do we cool ourselves down? We can drink water. I would advise against taking too much of sugary drinks again, but just water, mint water, lemon juice, things like that. And keep yourself well hydrated. And also it's good to have some healthy snacks. I think I love my snacks. So, if people love snacks, you can choose healthy snacks. Nuts are there, fruits are there. So I think nourishment of the body is very important. And when you're well fed, you can give out more. You can be more productive.
Yeah, sometimes our computers are slow, right? And when I wait for something to load, rather than kind of sitting there going, oh, come on, load.
Yeah.
I'd be like, okay, this is the computer telling me to take a break.
Yeah.
And now I can take a few seconds to concentrate on my breathing and have a sip of water, because I often forget to drink when I'm in clinic. So sometimes simple things like when you're waiting for the computer to load, you can take that opportunity to nourish yourself and take a breather and focus on your breathing to reset and be mindful in that moment. I like what you said about breaking things down into chunks as well. Because often when we have a big project, the idea of even starting is overwhelming. So what I tend to do is literally break things down into very, very, very tiny chunks. So even like, as doctors, we like to write lists. Right? I definitely did in hospital. I used to write my job list and with little tick boxes next to it. And even to start could be a tick box. And then to the next step could be another very, very small but achievable task.
Yeah.
And each time you tick a task off, that gives you that momentum to keep going as well, doesn't it?
I absolutely, absolutely. I think um, we are quite self-critical. So unless we finish up the bigger chunk of work, we are quite self-critical. We don't appreciate the small successes that we have made throughout the day. And I think it's always good to start the day with a bit of positivity, with a bit of either positive affirmation or, as you mentioned, mindfulness, breathing, meditation, because we all lead busy lives, and it's always good to start the day with a bit of grounding, just to say that, and a bit of positivity, that today I'll just focus on being happy, and it doesn't matter how much work is there. I'll try to do my best, and if I can't finish everything, I'm not going to be hard on myself.
Yeah, and that learning attitude is so important as well. And what I say is, every breakdown, there is a breakthrough in every breakdown. So each breakdown could be seen as a learning opportunity. Then you reframe it in a positive way, so that you're not beating yourself up. And talking about grounding, actually, I'd like to share a practice that I do with you all. Is when I get to work, obviously I set an intention for the day, and my intention when I go to work is that my patients are well, and that I am able to heal them. It's the kind of intention that I set when I get to work. And then I sit there with a blank piece of paper and I start, just a couple of minutes before I even switch on my computer, is to write things that I am grateful for. So I do a little gratitude journal when I get to my desk. And then I'm starting the day with a positive mindset. And when I notice that when I don't do that, the day doesn't go as well. But when I do, the day tends to go a lot smoother. Do you have any kind of routine when you get to work, Sarmila?
So I begin my day with the grounding thing that I mentioned. I do a bit of meditation when I start my day. But when I go to work, sometimes if I get the time, I do it. But we are sometimes dragged into lots of emergencies and stuff. So not always I don't get the time. But sometimes what I feel is when I'm with my patient, and luckily in psychiatry, we have longer sessions, we can spend longer time. So I have the luxury of spending 50 minutes with the patient, that first review. So during that 50 minutes, I give a lot of time to listen to the patient. And as I'm listening to the patient, I practice breathing. So I'm practicing, I'm calming myself, I'm doing breathing. And sometimes I try to connect, I try to listen more. So rather, when you're spending more energy listening, so your brain is thinking as well then. Whereas if you're trying to rush your job, if you're trying to rush your work, invariably what happens is the brain goes into the stress mode, and that is a stress reaction. And what happens with stress reaction, you release cortisol, and then it's like a fight or flight reaction sort of thing, and you're not able to think a lot of things which you would have otherwise thought, like in terms of solutions, how to help the patient. So the more calmer you are, the better you're able to deliver the care, the empathy, even connection. And patients, they can understand. They look at your communication style, they look at you. If they feel that you yourself are stressing out and anxious, it doesn't matter what advice you give, because they're going to say, here, my doctor is so stressed out. How can I listen to my doctor when he or she is incredibly stressed? So I think practice what you preach, I would say. And
Amazing.
excellent, yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Sarmila. I just want to share with you all the incredible course that Dr. Sarmila, and the workshop that I just mentioned as well, that Dr. Sarmila has created, and it is available for you to sign up to. I think it starts on the 18th of September, doesn't it? Yeah. Yeah, it's a one-day workshop, and we'll share the link for the sign up in the chat below. And this is created in conjunction with BSLM, the British Society of Lifestyle Medicine. So do check out the link, and we will be back next Friday again for another 15-minute chat with Dr. Sarmila Sinha. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.